Hey guys, been pretty busy in the shop today, getting some things done I got to get done, and I thought I'd just make a quick video here. I showed you the hammer I was going to, the 3-pound double jack that I was going to make a rounding hammer out of, a good blacksmith's hammer, and I've made a top fuller here today, and I've already got the bottom fuller that I made a previous video of, and a friend of mine was supposed to come over and be my striker today and help me fuller the ends, you know, around the hammer. Well, he didn't show, so I had to come up with something else, and I'll show that to you. So here's what I've come up with. Have my bottom fuller I made the other day in the Hardy, and seeing how I have no way to hold the hammer and the top fuller at the same time, I set up this little jig. It actually works pretty well. I welded a handle onto my hammer since I'm redoing my head on my hammer anyway, but I just lay it in there like so, and then I can take my top fuller and put it up here, and I've been working my way around and fullering around the heads of the hammer. We'll show you a little bit of that here just directly. All right, well, that hammerhead's had a good soak. Got my little jig set up here, and the way this works is I just set it in there like that. And I can kind of squeeze those clamps a little bit, kind of helps to hold it in place. I can just reach down here and turn it a little bit where I need it. Whoops, the clamp popped loose. Okay, I think we got a pretty good soak on our hammerhead again. See which part I need to work the most. I think right about there. Got it. Little jig I made up here is actually working out better than I expected it would. I figured I'd have to wrestle with it a lot more than I have. It's actually working out quite well. Cool off our little top fuller there. I think that's I think that's just about got it on that end. Maybe just a little more work right in there. Light my stump on fire. That's never good. I think we've about got this. This would have been a lot easier job had my striker shown up. But you know what I always say, where there's a will, there's a way, right? And I need to get this done because I want to use this hammer on my next knife build. I'm going to go ahead and get another heat on this end and just clean this one up a little bit more, but I think that one there is looking pretty good. Okay, we got a pretty good soak on our hammerhead again. I'm going to work this other end here just a little bit. I think we're going to call this good. Well, that worked out actually quite well. Of course, both of my fullers, my top and bottom fullers, were both made of 5160, some heavy truck leaf springs off of a big truck. So they hold up really well. I haven't been showing, but after each heat, after I'm done, I've been taking both of them and cooling them off over there in the water bucket. Keep them from getting too hot, you know. But this is about useless. I've got one of those heavy bristled brushes I ordered. It's on its way. And I think that's going to be good. Like I say, I want to get my grinder now and take some more meat out of these heavier areas right in here. We'll let this cool down, and then I'm going to take my grinder and grind this out a little bit lighter. I ground quite a bit of material out from where I did the fullers, but if you'll remember, I told you I didn't want to this was a 3-pound double jack that I'm making this out of, and I just my cross peen right here, this is a 3-pounder, and man, it really wears me out when I use it like on a project where I need to draw out reins or something like that on a pair of tongs, because it'll move a lot more steel than that lighter hammer, but it just tears me up. So I want to try to get this down to about 2.5 pounds. We're probably pretty close with the material I took out of these fullers with the angle grinder, because I ground them out. I V'd that out pretty good before I started this with the fuller. So I got rid of quite a bit of material there, and we'll get rid of some more along in here where these fatter parts are here, and try to lighten that thing up a little bit. And if I can get it down to about 2.5 pounds, I think I'll be quite happy with it. So let's let this thing cool off, and we'll well, I don't know, I kind of see a few little things in there. It'll be all right. I'll take the grinder and just kind of clean that up a little bit inside those fullers. I don't want that to get too thin, but I don't want those lines in there either. They kind of look like cold shuts. They're not, but we'll grind those out a little bit, clean it up, and I'll get my grinder work done, and then we'll be ready to quench this thing. Well, while we're waiting for our hammer to cool off, thought I'd show you what else I got done today. I made a pretty sweet little tong hanger there on my stump. So now my tongs won't be bouncing off of the stump anymore. And then came over here and we did this one yesterday. I made another one today just about like it to hang the cross peen in. I need to make one more of those, I guess. I forgot I need to hang I want to throw my ball peen in there too. So I'll make another one and put it around this side, I believe, for my ball peen. But so my stump anvil, my anvil stump anvil. So my anvil stump is in better shape. Easier to hang my tools on and all of that. So that'll help me. And you know, I talk about hanging them on there, but look at this. I've still got all kinds of it. Of course, I just took those clamps off. Those will get put away. I've been using these Hardy tools today. I had to use my cutoff 2 or 3 times, and just got done using that bottom fuller there and that top fuller. But yeah, I just made the top fuller today. Just a piece of 5160 from a semi-truck from the trailer leaf spring. That stuff's just awesome. I love it, and I can pretty much get a never-ending supply of that from where I work. They throw those things out in the recycled steel bin, you know, and I talked to the shop foreman, and he says, yeah, just go grab one. So I've got 2 or 3 of those in the shop. I've got enough material in leaf springs to last me quite a while. I just brought that over here and put it in the vise. I don't want to cool it off in water or anything. I don't, you know, just kind of let it halfway anneal here in the vise for a while. Then I want to grind some more meat out of some of these sides and these fat shoulders and stuff here a little bit. Lighten it up a little bit more. And I think by the time I'm done, it should be down to about close to 2.5 pounds where I'd like it. And I know this looks terrible, and I don't think anybody recommends doing that, but I didn't really have a choice. I didn't have a striker. I would have held it and had my striker, you know, because I needed both hands. And but with the little jig I came up with, that worked pretty good. We'll zip that off with the angle, with my 7-inch angle cutoff wheel, and clean that side of the head up. And this here is going to be the rounding hammer side of things. And I've even rounded that up and took all that octagon shape that it had off of it. I left some of it on this other side because you know, that won't be getting rounded up, so we don't care as much. But all in all, I think that I think my rounding hammer is coming out pretty good. So I'm going to go eat some dinner and let this thing cool off, and and then we'll come back and get some of that ground up, and I probably won't videotape that. You've seen people use grinders before, so but I just kind of wanted to show you my jig I set up and how I was able to do that fuller by myself. You know, when you're in a pinch, you figure things out. So anyway, that's the update on the hammer for now. And here in a little bit, when we get it cleaned up a little bit and get some more meat ground off of it, I'll show you where we are, and we'll probably be about ready to quench this thing. Well, alright guys and gals, I got most of my grinder work done on this. I think it came out real well for the minimal tools that I have in my shop. Here's our flat surface right there, and then here's our rounding head. I think it came out pretty well, actually. I'm surprised. I continually surprise myself with some of the things that I do. When you consider that this was one of these. This is a 2-pound, but I made this out of a 3-pound double jack, exactly like this one, just a pound heavier. And but I wanted to lose a pound or a half a pound out of it. I think we accomplished that, or if not, really close to it. I know it's not 3 pounds anymore because we took a lot of material out of here and here. So anyway, there's pretty much the finish. Still needs to be heat treated. I'll do that tomorrow. I've had enough for one day. I'm pretty bushed. That rounding head came out pretty good, you know. And then the flat one is actually flat, so so I think we did all right. So I'm going to close this video out, and tomorrow we'll get this heat treated and get a handle put on it. Have me a new rounding hammer, a good blacksmith's hammer. Didn't cost me anything but some time in the shop. You know, I've looked at them online, and most of the ones that I find online or that I see that, you know, other blacksmiths have made and that, I don't know. A lot of those ones that you see online, of course, first off, a lot of them are 3-pounders, and I don't want a 3-pounder. I swing that 3-pound cross beam, and it wears me out. But a lot of times this little 2-pounder I've been using is too light. So I wanted about 1.5 pounds, and I think we probably got there. You know, give or take a few ounces. I'm sure we're pretty close. And a lot of the hammers that I've seen for sale online and what have you, they're really short, you know, in this way, and they're way big around, and you know, you don't have a whole lot of room between your striking surface and your handle, and they just seem short and stubby and fat and bigger around, and I just wanted mine a little longer. I think it'll work better as far as my you know, my distance from my knuckles to my handle, you know, that whole thing. A shorter hammer, if I have a little stubby, shorter hammer like this, I'm going to tend to go too far and strike like this on my material, and we want a nice flat strike. So I think being longer like this, I'll be able to get a nice flat strike on my material. It'll feel more natural in my hand, and I think this is going to work really well for me. So thanks for checking me out in the shop today and what we're up to here. Got those stump hammer and tong holders put on today. Got this thing pretty much done other than heat treat, and then we'll have to come back after heat treat and clean this all up again. Now, I initially ground these bevels out somewhat. Then I took and and we nailed it over there with the bottom and top fullers that I've made. And then I came and brought it back to here and put it in the vise. And most of this grinder work here, pretty much all of this grinding, was done with just an aggressive wheel on my 4.5-inch angle grinder. Then when I got everything pretty much ground away and rounded up where I thought it was where I wanted it, I threw a flat disc. I just threw a, what is it, 60 grit flat disc on the angle grinder, and that's what cleaned it up pretty nice. And then I think I've got a 40, a worn out 40 on the belt grinder, and I just took it and kind of, you know, just finished taking the grinder marks out of it that flat disc and stuff left on it on the slack belt on the bench grinder, on the little belt grinder. So I'm quite happy with it. Tomorrow we'll heat treat it. I'm just going to quench it in water, I think. Of course, I won't just dunk it all at once. We'll quench one end, turn it over, quench the other, and try not to quench this center part as fast. We'll quench like dip it, dip it, dip it, dip it, dip it, back and forth until we get the ends pretty much hardened where we want them. Then we'll dunk the whole thing and finish the quench. And I think we'll be all right. If not, we'll quench it again. Not sure what kind of steel this is. I just made it from another hammer, so I'm sure it's good steel. It was a hammer to start with. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed what little bit you got to see of me doing this. I'll probably bring you in on the quench tomorrow and hardening that hammer and what have you. There won't be much to it, but I'll probably show that to you. So hey, everybody, get out to your shop and beat on something. If you're just new to blacksmithing or whatever, get out there, get a piece of steel. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be mild steel, rebar, you know, a railroad spike, something you found, just a piece of iron of some kind or steel. Heat it up and beat on it and see what you can come up with. Every time you work a little bit, you know, your skills, your hammer skills get a little better. You get a little better, you build more confidence, and you're able to do much nicer projects after a little while. So hit that subscribe button if you like seeing the content, and maybe give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.